I'd like to tell you a little story about a text editor I used at SRI in the late 70s. This was part of Doug Engelbart's system. It was called NLS. And people will not believe this, but as a code editor in 1977, I used the NLS system as a code editor, and it was a better and faster code editor than I can find today. After 20 iterations of Moore's Law, at least. The machines I use today have 1,000 times more memory or 1,000 times faster, and the code editor was better 20 years ago. And the reason was the user interface design that Doug Engelbart came up with. He invented the mouse. He also invented the key set. He applied for the patent on the mouse in 1964, I think, and also applied on a patent for the key set. Was granted a patent on the mouse, along with Bill English. Found out the key set was actually patented in 1865 by Western Union as a telegraph input device. But what Doug and Bill discovered was that rather than moving your hands back and forth from a keyboard to a mouse, it was a much better design to use one hand on a mouse and the other hand on the key set. So this is a 5-finger chorded key set. So you play chords on this and you point to arguments with the mouse. So dealing with text, there's 2 ways to deal with text. There's text entry, which is 2 hands on the keyboard, touch typing, and there's text editing, which should all be done with 1 hand on the mouse and 1 hand on the key set. For example, if you're looking at a large procedure file with many procedures in it and you want to make a copy of one procedure and put it after another procedure, in Doug's system it was as simple as basically give it 1 command on the keyboard, copy, and then branch, click, click. And to give you an example of the technology they had to invent to make all this work in the 1970s, this mouse, it's before optical mice and before digital mice. So these are actually rheostats, variable resistors. It just varies the resistance as it turns. As a result, they have stops. So the mouse only goes from here to here. So the mouse have hard stops. An interesting story is that when they first came up with digital mice, at SRI and later at Xerox PARC, people hated them. The reason is the variable resistors have nonlinear response. So all the muscle memory from everybody incorporated the nonlinear response of the variable resistors. And as soon as they got digital mice with optical mice, it was a linear response and people hated it. So what happened to this? The mouse, of course, everyone used. The key set, turns out, because it takes 3 days to learn, it's a totally insurmountable commercial barrier. You can never sell, even though after the 3 days, you would increase your productivity by orders of magnitude from every day thereafter. But we tried several times and could never sell it, and people have tried since. It's sad but true. I still have several friends from SRI, husband and wife, that whisper under a table using key set commands on each other's legs as they talk. And because they both understand the key set, they talk that way.